Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 14 of the Gaming Fuse podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Boom Boom Kaboo. It's Noof Nukem in the room. Hope you're having a wonderful Monday night. Or as in most places around the world, at least here in North America, I do believe it is Labor Day. And so happy Labor Day to everybody. Hope you're having a great day. Maybe chilling, playing some video games. As evident by my Xbox timeline, a lot of people are very busy right now playing Starfield. That is fantastic. And I look forward to jumping into that universe in just another day or so when the game officially releases. I didn't get in on the early edition stuff. But I'm sure I am going to enjoy it. And we're going to get into that topic in just a few moments. A couple of news and notes before I get to my esteemed panel. Our guest tonight was supposed to be Doom Cutie, but due to a time mess up, I'm not sure if she will make it or not. I have not heard back from her in the last little while. I think she has some things on the go today, so she may pop in, she may not. But if she doesn't, hopefully we can get her back on the show next week and get the time zones locked down. It's obviously a little bit tougher when we're up here in North America and she's way over there in Australia. And I was looking forward to having her chiming in on Starfield and stuff like that. But in the meantime, let's move right along. And also, I was hoping to have sort of a new intro for this week, but unfortunately, just due to some other constraints, that content is coming. But it'll be here soon, and I'm looking forward to displaying that as well. But in the meantime, let's get this show up and rolling, and let's start by bringing in the man who brings big opinions. That's why we call him Titan. Here he is. Without any further ado, Titan Drago.
Well. What's up, everybody? What's up, my Starfield players? And I've noticed a lot. And Noof, I noticed you said, how many did you say when you checked we're playing it?
The first night alone, when it went live, I had 32 people on my players list, which is more than any Call of Duty game I've ever seen. Usually Call of Duties are always guaranteed to be at least 20, but 32, I was like, wow.
It's been stacked. And that's only early access. Imagine when it actually comes out. So I wish I had like a Starfield like flavor. I might have been able to find one if I looked harder, but so I'm gonna go cheap with it this week. And I'm gonna go with the G Fuel flavor of the week being guava. Very strange flavor. It tastes pretty dang good. I'm gonna give it a 75. It's not the best, but it definitely how many guava things do you like? You know, like I don't like many, but I like that drink. So it's probably halfway gone by about now. So, anyways, sorry I missed last week, everybody. I was really feeling like trash last week, but I'm good to go this week, and hopefully Mental 9R is too.
Absolutely. Titan is so good to go this week. He's looking ultra fresh. He's got rid of the beard. Or the goatee. I said something looks different about him. He's like, yeah, shaved. Yeah, there you go. Looking fresh, feeling fresh, and ready to dive into more Starfield. All right, speaking of a man who's got that Starfield buzz because it's in the background, let's bring him in, our other Canadian juggernaut friend, Mental 9R.
What is up, everyone? So sorry, you caught me just after I took another bite of food, so I'm off camera at the moment, but I'll have the camera on shortly. And looking forward to the show tonight. Welcome everyone to the Fuse. Happy to be here and looking forward to the show.
On the docket for tonight, obviously Starfield. The early reaction so far, some of the buzz, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Also, we're going to talk about Violition games. They're getting shut down. For those who've been a fan of the Saints Row franchise, this comes as a big blow. For anybody who's not, you probably could care less. But either which way, it's sad to see another studio succumbing to obviously lackluster sales and stuff like that. So, shout out to all of those crowd at Violition. But we're going to talk about that a little bit as well. And we'll talk about, before the show closes, hopefully, the latest price increase from PlayStation. It even has the PlayStation Nation up in arms this time. And, it's got to be a little bit steep when a lot of them are like, wow, what are you doing, man? But, they're really going out there. They're like going for the throat. I mean, they just upped it like $10, like maybe not even a year ago or something like that. And now they're going up $20. In Canada, that means it's going to bring PlayStation Plus Essential to like about at least 100 Canadian. Right? So it's a good damn thing. They're bringing some value for the money, but we'll talk about that here shortly. Let's shout out to the amazing chat. I'm going to first start off with Curry Cosmos, who was the winner last week of the game controller giveaway. So yes, Curry Cosmos scored that Mass Effect controller. She's super excited to get it, and it is in the mail, Curry. You should have it in a couple days. So once again, congratulations. And thanks to everybody who showed up for one episode or all four to get your entries in for that amazing little draw. All right. Let's catch up with more of the chat. We're going to start off with some crazy, awesome people, including a longtime friend. Timothy Dixon's in the building. Talis Ray is hanging out with us tonight. Good to see him here. Doggy Dog, as always, is in the building. Woof, woof. Good to see you here, my friend. The Game Complainers is in the building. We see Cray Simmons TV is in the house. It's Timmy. He's hanging around. Princess Zelda is in the background. Good to see you, Princess Zelda. Got to get you on here with Titan some night. Give us the old lowdown. We've also got Casket Repair. It's been a while, Casket. Hope you're doing well. And who else we got going on? John 907. We got Axel 1324. Good to see you, Axel. We got to get you on this program, sir. Dreadpool is in the house. Good to see you here, Dread. And we got Thimber is hanging out with us as well. Good to see you. RWK 88. And I think Sir X-Man is here. Good to see you, brother. Awesome crew tonight, guys. Thank you so much. And we'll get to the first super chat of the evening. It comes in versus via our usual first super chatter. Doggy Dog, $4.20, $1.99. Titan.
The game infused. Cheers, my friends. Ching. Woo.
So Titan's drinking G Fool, and I'm drinking this stuff just new up here in Canada. It's been in the United States for a while. Geez, you can't even see it because of the darn background here.
It does that. I hate it when it does that. It's like, recognize the camera. Come on,
man. Yeah. But anyway, it's Zoa energy drink. You know, Dwayne Johnson's energy drinks. Really good stuff, actually. Every flavor I've had tastes good so far, and there's no sugar. So bonus aspect right there. All right. Yes, the Mental 9R, he will be on camera momentarily. He's just scarfing down a Starfield-sized meal at the moment. So, yes.
Chunks, I think they're called in Starfield. There, you'll see chunks a lot.
Some chunks?
Yeah.
All righty.
Lots of different chunks.
So let's get right into it. The big game in question, Starfield. It's finally here. It is out in the wild. People have been playing it. The reviews are in. Metacritic scores sitting at 86. Titan, I'm going to start with you because obviously I've seen you playing. I asked you the other night how you felt about it. You seem to be a little bit too early to kind of give me at least a consensus, which I don't know. To me, it kind of bothered me a little bit because just usually when people like when a game gravitates, you can be like 30 minutes to an hour in, and you're kind of going, yeah, man, this game is like rocking, and I can't wait to see more of it. And you just kind of give me that kind of got that feeling, yeah, I'm enjoying it, but you know, it's got to be a bit more. So kind of update on that. Where are you at with this game? What are you thinking of it so far?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to be more safeguarded on this one because I know it's such a huge game. So I didn't I had probably by the time you messaged me, I had just made my character and maybe done 2 missions. So a game like this, I didn't want to say anything about it at that time. Now I've got a pretty decent amount of time in it. I've gotten to do a lot of stuff. I have 3 ships now, one that I made completely from scratch, and that system is really fun. I do like the ship building system, and you cannot just make whatever you want. I think they kind of led that on. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I felt like they led that on, just make what you want, and it is what it is. Now there is certain things you got to meet. You got to
templates kind of thing.
No, it's free form in that way, but there is a max height, there is a max length. Right. And I didn't think mine was too long, but I exceeded it, and it let me know.
Are we talking about the ship or something else here?
That's what she said.
Yeah. I don't know. Ask Zelda. Anyways, so yeah, the shipbuilding, loved that. One of the negatives about it, and Princess Zelda always makes fun of the way I say this, is the foliage. Now, you know what I mean by when I say foliage? What do I mean?
Foliage, the stuff stuff in the background,
grass and stuff.
Yeah.
The grass, the trees, the shrubs, the things that make up the environment is essentially
exactly foliage. The foliage, right? It's foliage. but I call it foliage.
I knew what you meant, but that's why I had a question mark there when I said it. But.
Right. She was making fun of me the way I said that. But yeah, that's like, I don't know, man. People were saying how they loved that one city, and I'm just looking at the foliage. And I'm like, it's like Halo to me. It's just not impressive.
Right.
Other than that, I've been having a really good time with it. There's a lot of stuff I could talk about. I don't want to hog the mic for too long. I'll go back and forth with you guys. Mental. Well, I think I'm like level 17. Where are you at, Mental? Somewhere around there. I'm level 6.
Let me just say the PC guys are having fun with it. Look at all the mods they've been doing already. I mean, I saw one guy, he actually put Phil Spencer's face in the flashlight. He shines it up in the wall, and you see Phil Spencer's head. It's like, oh my god, these guys are crazy.
That's pretty awesome. I'm gonna have to
and,
look for some of that
and
stuff.
one guy was making the ship, I guess, from Firefly, basically recreating that. So yeah, you're probably gonna see some pretty crazy creations. Yeah,
I did see someone already incorporated DLSS in a mod. Mental, do you know anything?
It basically. It's just a lift and shift of some DLLs and junk, and it replaces FSR with DLSS for NVIDIA users. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm definitely going to. And I fully understand why it's 30 FPS on console now. Even with my rig, like 60's a chore in some spots, and that's with FSR. But the FSR implementation is broken for NVIDIA cards. It's really strange. I've never seen a game that basically shows zero improvement when you turn on an upscaling tech like that. My GPU's being fully utilized, my CPU's being well utilized. So my initial concerns that maybe it's not threading well, that's not the case. It's definitely threading quite well. You do see like there's a couple threads that are kind of primary, secondary that get hit a little bit harder than the rest, but no, the game is just really, really heavy, and hopefully they can come up with some ways to optimize it. Things like VRS don't seem to make any difference, which is odd too, because the Series X supports VRS. So I don't know. I know FSR works better on AMD hardware, and it apparently, works fairly well in the PC implementation for AMD users, but for NVIDIA, it's completely broken. So I'm going to try the DLSS mod, see if I get some happier times and frame rates in some of those areas where, it's like I'm down into the 65 sort of range, and with a 4090 and 7950X, it's just not what I was expecting. I was thinking 100 FPS all day, every day, and it's just not happening. Little disappointed in the performance, but I expect there'll be some optimizations from Bethesda, and there's going to be some optimizations, I'm sure, that will come from NVIDIA and AMD as well, to improve things a bit. But it's a heavy lift.
We'll come back to the performance side of things in a bit, but so far from the reviews I've read and things I'm hearing, performance seems to be the least of the issues here. Now, it's kind of weird with this game because we've seen a spectrum of reviews, some very high, some kind of on the low, and everything in between, but obviously, everybody's entitled to their opinion. Here's the one that I did find rather funny, right? I mean, obviously, the one big opinion that most people actually do care about, if you care about reviews at all, is usually IGN. And Dan Stapleton gave it a bit of a glaring review. A lot of people are kind of like thinking, why didn't Destin or certainly Ryan McCaffrey cover this game, since he talked so much about it, but for whatever reason they did not, and it was left in Dan Stapleton's hands. And then of course there was some stuff brought up to show that his bias towards PlayStation and sort of a disdain for Xbox from a few years ago. But that all aside, what I found funny was as well, Dan Stapleton gives us, I think he gave it like a 70 or 7 out of 10. You look at the IGN scores from places like France and the other countries, right? Because they have Japan,
Spain.
They have all these places in other areas of the world, and they all scored this game 9s, like near perfect. And he comes out with
Japan
a 7,
and Spain, right? Japan and Spain or Japan and France were 10s.
Were 10s, yeah. We saw this game with 10s, right? I mean, we saw a lot of other publications too, like the lesser known stuff. Give it some 10s too, and they're always like these publications that you never really heard of. It's like Xbox Uranus, gaming podcast or something like that, gives it 10 out of 10, those sorts of things. But it's kind of glaring. So, where does it sit? I don't know. At the end of the day, it really doesn't make a big difference as long as you're enjoying it. Like I said, 32 people playing it, and the game's not even officially released, speaks volumes about, the kind of hype, the stuff behind this game. But do you think some of the lower reviews, because some of the ones that have been coming out as well, you kind of get the feeling that they never really played the game. Like they kind of did, like they went into a few hours, probably didn't accomplish a whole lot, and then kind of go, this game's this is it. This is the whole kit and caboodle. Do you guys get that feeling at all? I mean, how would you range some of the high scores and some of the low ones?
Well, there was a span of me doing like the main story missions, and it was pretty early, and I was like legitimately bored. So like I could understand like the 86 meta or whatever. I'd say, for me, I say, let's give the game a little bit more respect for how much it does and whatnot. So I feel like high 80s, low 90s is fair. But there was one span, I would say it lasted about a half hour long. And that's a pretty long time to be legitimately bored, because it was like I was doing this mission. And it was like load screen. Okay. Walk 20 feet, load screen. Walk 20 feet, open a door, load screen. Talk to somebody. Walk out, load screen. Walk 20 feet, load screen. And then that was just on the planet, right?
So there's a lot of load
discovered
screens.
There are extreme amount of load screens. There are ways to go ahead.
I gotta ask, how long are these load screens on Series X? I haven't played it on console.
Usually around 2 to 4 seconds. There's a couple that are a little bit longer, but not usually terribly long.
Could you imagine that on the Xbox One?
Well, it's like, a lot of these, I think a lot of these are unnecessary, because you open a door and it's an automatic load screen. I feel like especially like you walk into a pub, it's a load screen. It's like,
I totally get what you're saying. Most of the time, I would say it's like the screen fades to black and it's right back up for me. Like it's pretty instant. There's the odd one that maybe I could count to 2 before it actually loads. But that is something. All they had to do, and maybe this will come down the road in a patch, is put in an animation of the door swinging open. Right? And the guy stepping through into the next part of the world. It keeps you in that immersive sort of feel. And it gives them the time in the background to load that scene, right? Everything can just load up quickly in the background. That's why I was asking how long it was taking.
It's like a good 2 to 4 seconds. But like a lot of those load screens, a lot of them are just like not big build, not a lot to load. You walk in and there's only like a couple rooms here or there. So that's just weird to me. But like I said, it only happened that one time, and then right after that, 30 minutes was up of me being bored. Like, boom, shit started to hit the fan for me. So I was like, and then I was like, I could tell I was like being forced to make a decision of like where I was gonna go. The first kind of key decision where I was gonna go, what type of gameplay I was gonna have. I definitely got that feeling, and that was really cool. And after I beat that series of missions or whatever, I got a big chunk of change, and that's when I built my first ship from scratch.
Is this part of the main story? Is that main story mission, or is it one of the side? Like the side quests, some of them are like full stories in a different game. It almost feels like
it's more of a side. It's not the main quest, because the main quest is with Constellation, right?
Right.
Yeah, so it's not the main quest. It was maybe it was like one of the faction missions main quests, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I haven't joined a faction yet. I've only other than the Vanguard. I did join the Vanguard. I've been doing some of that, and I think I'm maybe 15, 20 hours in, somewhere in that zone. But I'm only around level 10 or 12. I've kind of wasted a lot of time just wandering around doing stuff too, like not really paying attention to anything other than exploring a bit here and there. But it's kind of how I played Hogwarts, which I was in a big panic the day before Starfield came out, and I spent, I don't even know, like 5 hours that night just plowing through, finishing the last story missions in Hogwarts, because I knew I'd never go back to it. So got that done. But
well, it's weird. I might even have a couple more hours into it, but fucking the NFL is literally fucking me right now. with their NFL Plus. They haven't uploaded any of the games from this last weekend. None of them on their app. So, and it's not on my phone, not on the Xbox, it's nowhere. So, like, literally, the NFL is just like behind a week. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. And I was trying to figure that out for I don't know how many hours.
You're going to be screwed with no snap screen, right? Unable to just watch the game while you're playing the game.
Oh no, I can't dual queue like that. I'm all in on the Vikes when they're on.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Wanted to bring up that because even popular female actress Chloe Grace Moretz is even playing Starfield right now, which is awesome. I know she's a big Call of Duty player, but she's gotta admit the amount of Starfield I've played since its release is verging on a not okay amount. Laughing. That's awesome,
That's
Chloe.
funny.
Good to see you. Hit Girl is down with Starfield.
Yeah, I watched that show. What
her new one, The Peripheral?
Yeah, but it got canceled, I heard. I was really enjoying that show.
Yeah, I've only watched about a couple episodes of the first season. It was pretty cool, yeah.
Mental, have you noticed, like, half the time when you start a conversation, they're like talking to you like this, but they're looking the other way, and it takes them a good 5 seconds to actually like, oh, there.
Oh, no, you're over there.
Let's talk. But they're like talking to you and looking this way for like a good 30 seconons. Until they turn to you.
I like the one where the lady did the poltergeist thing, and then somebody showed the glitch, and her head turned all the way around. She's on the couch, and her head just like goes the full all the way around.
That's awesome.
I had one.
I haven't seen that, but
I had one crazy glitch where Sarah from Constellation is following me. And we walk into this admiral's room or whatever, and like she just starts like floating out of nowhere. So it's like, and it's going from like me to talking to Sarah, and she's like way up there. So I'm like looking way up, and then it goes to the admiral, and he's looking way up, and she's looking down upon us. It's like fucking hilarious.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah,
see, I don't mind stuff like that. You know,
is that one area that perhaps Bethesda and Xbox need to invest a little bit in now moving forward? Is perhaps finding a different animation system or something for the characters? Because while they're decent and they're passable and they're probably better than Bethesda's old games, I mean, they're certainly not anywhere on the level of Naughty Dog's facial details and animation. So is that something perhaps in the future they address to make things a little bit more believable? I mean, the graphics are good in this game, but I wouldn't call them like mind-blowing.
All right, so that was another thing I noticed when I'm like walking, I don't know, through like one of the towns or whatever, one of the main cities. People like walking around, they're looking at you with them big eyes, man.
Yeah.
They're like, man, these are all aliens with the way they're looking at me, man.
Yeah, that's funny. There's definitely Bethesda face syndrome in this game. Like it's again though, like I think the reason that your main characters you interact with don't look too bad. Like they look decent enough, and you know the voice acting is great. That's something I heard before I started playing from the reviews, and I concur. The voice acting's great. All the main character, the interactions are awesome, and it does get you into the story. I was really worried because I'd heard, oh, geez, you know, the first 10, 20 hours is kind of slow. And I'm like, 10 or 20 hours is slow? Holy crap. So I was a little bit worried about that. But, you know, I kind of got into it fairly quickly, maybe a little faster than you, Titan. I didn't really find any major stretches where I was bored because I've been finding things to do and entertaining myself, I guess. I don't know. But I couldn't tell you how many missions I've done or quest lines I've done or anything.
Have you unlocked powers yet?
No, I haven't.
All right, so that'll be coming with Constellation.
Okay.
And
yeah,
you
haven't done anything like that.
Do the space hijacking yet? Hijack a ship or anything?
Yeah, I hijacked one ship. There's one I had to decrease the difficulty for. It was a space fight, and I'm like, thank God. And just before I got into this space fight, I went and rebuilt, you know, my ship or whatever. I upgraded whatnot, and the piece of trash they had me going into that, I would have never survived on any kind of difficulty. So be careful on those space missions or whatever. Make sure you got like, you can set whatever ship you got as your home ship, and that'll be like the one you fly around wherever. Make sure you got a good one, because if you got a trash one and they give you one trash one, it was basically like, I don't know if it was mainly for cargo or prisoner transport, one of the two, but it had like no shield, no guns. It was terrible. So there's that definitely to avoid when you get into it. What else was I going to say about the ship?
Yeah, I've got a lot to figure out. Well, you're thinking of that. Like the one thing I've had to do is literally switch to controller when I'm in a space battle, because the mouse feel on keyboard and mouse is absolutely terrible. Like I maybe it's just me, but I can't fly the thing with a mouse. Like it's just all over the place. And a controller, it feels great, no problem. I can buzz around, do what I need to do, but keyboard and mouse in space does not work for me.
And it's the only game that I don't invert the Y when I'm flying. I don't know why. It's weird, but it works.
I invert all the time, so
I always am. But this game, it works for some reason. I don't know why. What the hell's going on?
Well, I'm inverted even in like my character mode, right? Just I play inverted. To me, it's logically makes sense because you tip your head back to look up. You don't tip your head forward to look up. So that's why I just started playing inverted from when I first started playing video games. I always played inverted.
All right, so that was I was gonna say the so I had like 2 friendly ships. They're supposed to be helping me out. There's like all these enemies plus a fucking like space station, and like it's all shooting at me, and I'm like dying within, I don't know, sometimes 5 seconds, sometimes I'll go over here, but it took me probably. I'm raging in here. I know Zelda was in the other room hearing me scream. I'm like, God damn it! Until I had to lower the difficulty on that one, man, because I was getting pissed.
So crazy. How do you know? Like, does that game kind of warn you when you go into a place that you're not ready for? Is there
it wasn't like that. It was.
I think it shows like if you're under level, at least this is what I've noticed, at least with creatures and with enemies and stuff, like when you point at them, it shows you what level they are. So if you've got some clue as to what level you are, you know whether you're going to be in trouble or not, if it's going to be a tough fight. Like I just ran away from some spider looking thing that was like 5 levels above me. I wasn't able to, I kind of shot at it a bit and realized I'm not even scratching it. Oh crap, look at its level. Just ran away because there's no point.
Mental, how much did you mess around with the scanner?
A little bit. Foot? I've been throwing the scanner on to kind of look at distant objects and stuff, get an idea of what they are, and I'm doing a little bit of the resource gathering and junk too.
Scanner seemed a little wonky to me at first. Also, like throwing things in your ship inventory. So like when you build your ship, like the storage docks that you can put on it, right? They range from how much storage they that each one holds or whatever, and it does stack. So you can literally have like a legitimate,
freighter.
What do you call it? A smuggling vehicle or whatever with just a bunch of storage or whatever. You know what I mean? So like, there's you definitely want a couple smuggling vessels with all that storage, because there's not a ton of storage. I put 2 pretty big storage departments on my ship, and I filled it up like that, no problem. So that was another problem I was having, was carrying capacity.
I think from what I've heard, don't play it like your typical Bethesda game where you're scrounging and picking up everything you find, because you do get overburdened pretty fast, and you can't run very long when you're overburdened, and it can get you into a tough position if you're caught in a crossfire or in a fight and you can't run anymore because you're out of oxygen, and it gets nasty in a hurry. That's something I learned. And in fact, Sarah keeps complaining at me, like, what do you keep picking all this junk up for?
She's like, let's get rid of some of this junk.
Yeah, why are you carrying all this junk around? And then
I heard the inventory let's trade some a little bit nuts in this game. Is that correct?
It's not the best in my mind, to be honest. Yeah, like I'd like to see them do it a little different. And
Do what?
It seems the inventory system, like it's too restrictive, I think, on how much you can carry, and how much your ship can carry. Like the default ship, I think you can only it's like 500, whatever the weight
pounds,
rating is,
whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is, but it's pretty restrictive. I mean, you can fill up your people there, your crew members, and you can fill up your robot, and you can fill up the ship. I don't think the robot and the ship are separate, or are they separate? I don't even know. Haven't figured that out yet, but I hear there's a ship you can get later on through one of the, I think, I don't know, one of the other factions that you can join. There's a quest where you can get a ship that'll carry like 2,500 units or whatever the rating is.
I went to a couple different ship manufacturers, and they got quite the wide range of stuff. I saw, and one of them was like I could tell there was like just a ton of the biggest storage containers, the big green one. They had a ton of those, and they called it like the Mack truck or something. But yeah, there's like, I've run into 3 of them right now, like different ship manufacturers, and they all got their names. Like one is like Hope Ship Manufacturing or something like that, and the other one, like there's a couple other ones, and so yeah, that's pretty cool. And like some of them are actually in space and whatnot, like a space station. It's really cool how they do that.
Oh, cool.
Cool. Nice. So now, like I said, just kind of switching gears and kind of getting back to the whole review side of things. What do you guys think overall the consensus is that most people are happy with this game? Is it everything people kind of had hoped for? I mean, it's still too early to tell because a lot of people haven't even played this game yet. It's not even officially launched, so it's only the early access people. But, like I said, I've seen a lot of good reviews, and I've seen a few that have been kind of scathing. But at the end of the day, do you think that Microsoft and Bethesda are happy with where this game has sort of landed, pardon the pun, because it is one of the, as Tim Dog says, #1 game on Xbox, #1 game on Steam. It's doing really well. It's already like broken sales records, and that's just based off of the early access pre-order, so to speak. So, I mean, a lot of positives to take out of this. But, I mean, obviously, like I said, we go back to that whole Metacritic thing we talked about again, and we talked about this on a few podcasts. Like, obviously, the score is not where, I'm sure a lot of people had kind of hoped, just because it's that perception, right? The game is great, it seems like, and people that are playing it are really loving it. But, again, it's that perception again, and Xbox just can't seem to deliver one of those games outside of the Forza Horizon games.
It's no coincidence that there've been a couple like high 90 games rated, 97. It's no coincidence that this is an Xbox only, an Xbox exclusive, and it's below 90. Does it? I don't think it belongs below 90. I think that's a little harsh. I don't
think so either.
I think low 90s is fair, wherever you may put that, but. It's definitely the bias in the industry is shown. Like that one guy you're talking about earlier, what's his name? Stapleton.
Yeah.
I messaged that idiot.
Did you get blocked already?
I was surprised.
I was respectful.
Yeah.
He's an idiot, though.
Everyone's entitled to their opinion. My opinion would be, if you like Bethesda games, if you like Bethesda RPGs, you're gonna love Starfield. To me, it's, at least at the point I'm at in the game, it's the best one I've ever played. And I loved Fallout and games like that. I didn't play Fallout 4. I just couldn't get into that. But Fallout 3 was like my favorite game I'd ever played from Bethesda. If you like that type of stuff, you're going to like it. If you don't like it, like Bethesda games, and you're not into these types of RPGs, you're not going to like it. Chances are pretty good you won't like it. And Dan's review, he had a lot of reasons for giving it a 7, and that's great, but the guy's also on the record as he kind of hates Microsoft. He was a big critic of the overall purchase. He had a tweet after that he deleted, apparently after the review went public, where he said, well, finally done with that, now I can do something I enjoy. Right? And boom, was talking about that, right? Mr. Boomstick. And
right.
I didn't see it. I'm going to take his word for it that it was there. Other people have mentioned it was there and it got deleted. It's not a good look, especially when you have their own, partners or whatever in other countries rating it far higher. And then, even questioning, how do you come up with a 7? I think it was the guy from France or one of the ones that gave it a 10. He's kind of like, a 7? What? How do you come up with that? Like, this game's so not a 7.
I saw one of the other IGN writers defending Dan Stapleton, and not defending what he said, but she's like, we're not a monolith here. And it's like, okay, well, that's understandable, right? You're not all going to have the same opinion at the place you work with. But you know what? This is how I responded to her. I said, when I was in the Navy and we got off our ship or whatever, and we went to the port, did I agree with everything that my shipmates did? No. But did I hold them accountable? Hell yeah.
Right.
And that's what you do when you're under the same, when you're working toward the same common goal. If I worked for IGN, you know how ashamed I would be of a lot of those people that worked for, how many emails I'd send those people, like, all right, well they're doing a job, but they're making you all look bad. And it's not just one or two of them. It's probably around 90% of the people that work at IGN. And when it's that bad, it's like, come on, man, find another job where you won't have to deal with this flack. Right? Because what people are saying about IGN and Kotaku, it's not misguided. They're all facts. Everything that I've said is everything that I've seen against them has all been factual, right? And when you like what you just said, Mental, where he said, "Oh, thank God I can move on to something I'm enjoying." So there's that side of it. Plus, there's the side that he also said that he hates the fact that Microsoft acquired Bethesda, and so he's completely against acquiring, even though I guarantee he doesn't say anything when PlayStation does it.
Yeah. This is one of the circumstances where you can't help but think if it was a PlayStation exclusive, he'd have gave it a 10 or a 9. It would have been a much different score. And, that may or may not be true. I don't know. Like I say, everyone's entitled to their opinion. He happened to be the guy that reviewed the game for IGN. Was he the right guy to review it? I would say probably not. When you have someone that's expressed personal bias to that level, probably not the best look for your organization to have that person review a game that odds are he's going to have some that bias shine through in the review. And
you're setting yourself up for failure, and that's completely against what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, what would have been wrong with Dustin or Ryan McCaffrey? Even that that guy, I often don't see eye to eye with him in any way, but probably would have given it a little fairer shake. I think, and then you have the other, what's her name there, Stella, whatever her name was, that put a tweet before the reviews came out, giving her opinion of how she thinks the game's mid, but yet she had never played it. And you see stuff like that, and just to be clear, it's just based on what I've seen in the whatever trailers and stuff. It just looks mid to me. Probably just a case of bad timing. Probably just a case if you shouldn't have said anything. That's
and that's one thing for the average Joe Blow to come out and say that. But when you're sort of in the public eye and you're sort of one of the people that you kind of gotta just stay quiet until you have something legitimate. Otherwise, you make your own position and your own craft look a little bit janky. So,
and you also paint yourself in a corner where it's like when you do have something negative to say about it, whether it's warranted or not. Because if you do say something like that, and then you say something negative about the game, and let's say it is warranted, well, now you've got yourself in this corner as being biased already before what you even say. That's honest about the game, maybe,
Yeah.
And I feel I feel like there's been some takes on this game where people are looking for reasons to bring it down as opposed to just enjoying the game and having fun with it. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like I said, people went in right away, probably with more of a skeptical eye, looking directly for bugs and looking for that shit. So they could find more reasons to say take a couple of points off the old review, right?
I saw a tweet by what's his name, David Jaffe. Is that the guy's name? The God of War guy. where he basically said, you know, it goes from being the most wondrous, glorious looking game you've ever played on console, and then 5 minutes later, it looks like something from PS3. And you know, maybe, you know, Titan, you've played it more than I have. I have yet to see anything even close to a 360 PS3 era look.
No.
But, you know, I think that's selective memory there, because I get annoyed when I see people saying junk like that, because this game is nowhere near like that. That's memory loss issues. Go back and play a game from that era, and you'll quickly have your eyes opened when you see how bad they look.
Yeah,
you know,
go back and play Oblivion, you know, and compare it to
oh,
this.
exactly. Oh, exactly. Right? I mean, it's not even close. It's night and day difference.
Yeah,
sure.
That seems exaggerated, but
yeah, I mean, you go looking for something to complain about, you're always going to find something to complain about in any game you play. That's why I would never rate a game as perfect. I'd never give a 10 or a 100 out of 100 score, because nothing's perfect.
But, just on a lighter assignment before we move topics here, how about the guy that's certainly drawn a lot of attention to himself by having some tirade on apparently the game, hating the game because they've included pronouns in there. You know what I'm talking about?
I heard a bit about that, but I don't know who you're talking about specifically.
He literally
I just heard something about it.
Yeah, there's this guy, I don't know, there must be a video game podcaster, and he literally was going off in the worst kind of way, calling them out, you know, how they're gone woke, and, you know, and there's no need for this stuff, and there's pronouns in the game. And all I could think was like, man, like, that's a pretty terrible reason to just hate on a game because they just got something in there that you just don't agree with. I don't know. It's a bit...
Not a hill I'd want to.
You really got to watch that video,
I mean,
because he's having an aneurysm kind of deal. You know what I mean? Like, it's bad.
Really? So, no, I haven't seen it, but
there's people making fun of him.
Seems like
already.
A weird one to pick on. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's already got memes already. It's pretty hilarious.
Oh, really?
Right? Yeah. So, you know, it's pretty bad when you're getting memes. I forget the good dude's name, because I've never even seen him before. Just somebody brought it up and started making videos on him. I think, let me just see if I go to Ash and Luca's timeline, because I think she brought him up, something like she was saying like it's pretty pathetic or whatever. But
thing is, comparing this game to that like Star Wars Outlaws, like I feel my worst like kind of knock against this game is that I feel like it was a lack of foresight. It doesn't feel next gen to me. With all the loading screens, that being mainly how many loading screens there are. And like when I compared it graphically to Star Wars Outlaws, like Outlaws won pretty much every way that
Outlaws.
Every scene I like just looked better to me in Outlaws. And I don't know, that's
that one that's not out yet, right? Outlaws?
Right.
Is that what? Yeah, the
right. We've only
seen
that
game looked pretty good.
Yeah, it looked really good. It looks better than Starfield to me, but I mean, and it's got the seamlessness, and it's got vehicles. But where was I going with this? It's all about that lighting, man. I think that global illumination, man. I'm really struggling to give me a good solid reason of why they went this direction, this global illumination instead of baked in lighting everywhere, because it seems like that's what's doing all the taxing.
I think it's because of the way the worlds are procedurally generated as you approach them. So I think it would be heavier to try and produce like lighting models for all the possibilities that could be randomly generated, whereas if you use a global illumination model, the light is the light, so it doesn't matter what color it makes it, it's going to just reflect that in the world, and you're going to just see it, versus having to try and do that with static lighting models. I don't think it would work very well, and you'd probably have a heavier lift overall, or at least a much bigger game in terms of download size and everything. To account for all the possibilities, as well as like when you look across some of the worlds in the different atmospheric conditions. So you'll have like that misty look, for instance, that we've seen on some planets. Some planets it's crystal clear skies, other ones it's all kind of hazy and junk. I think that's probably why they went that route. I'm not a developer at that level. I mean, it's been a long time since I've written any code, but
the weather does change frequently, I noticed. Have you noticed that at all?
I have. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like I find like some of the areas are pretty glorious looking. Like it does look pretty nice. If they could get the like the characters in the game up to that same level, I think that's, to me, the biggest shortcoming in terms of making it not look as good as it could and stuff, is mainly the characters.
It's weird because their clothes look phenomenal. Like their clothes are a 10 out of 10. But when you get like some of their play animations,
the Bethesda face.
Yeah, and that is kind of a joke. Going back to Scott, even before Skyrim, going back to Oblivion, they always said it's easier to make alien faces because, like, you know, that's because you can get away with things like that. You know, like with
my wife says I look better with my clothes on too, so that's it's all part of it. When your wife's a video gamer and she walks in and goes, "Yeah, you're looking mighty fine Bethesda-like today," but your face, not a good Bethesda.
See, Jago's talking about turning down film grain. I didn't do that.
Turn the film grain
I
down.
usually do. I usually turn down that film grain, but I was worried about the 30 frames because I haven't played many games in 30 frames, but it's not like getting me sick or anything. It's like it's not bothering me as much as I thought it would.
Yeah, as long as it's not dropping frames and it maintains that, your brain adjusts to it pretty quick.
Right.
Like, you know, give yourself 15 minutes, half
but
hour.
there's an argument with
feeling
itself.
Okay.
People tore the living shit out of Redfall because it wasn't 60 frames a second, and you know, all of a sudden Starfield gets a massive pass. So it's like, I don't know, like I've always said, I'm not against 30 frames as long as they're consistent, and you know, you get a few extra bells and whistles because it runs at the lower frame rates, meaning the resolutions are higher, the textures might be a little higher, that sort of thing. You know, I mean, some games play well with it, some games don't. We obviously know that shooters, especially fast ones like Call of Duty, really work much better on the 60 frames. But it's just, you know, it's a funny thing how one game literally gets, you know, living shit torn out of it. Another game is sort of, well, yeah, it's 30, but it's getting a pass kind of deal. You know what I mean? So I think it's kind of sad.
It is, but I kind of understand it. Like Redfall should be 60. Like
should have been
the scope of that game, it should be, and that's one that suffered from really poor CPU optimizations. That's just the reality. Like it uses, like, I don't know, maybe 4 threads effectively, and the rest of them are doing nothing. And once they fix that, you know, I think you'll see 60 frames coming for that game. This one's entirely different. It's just, I'm not sure why. You know, really, to be perfectly honest, I'm not sure why it's as bad as it is, but yeah, it's a heavy pig. It really is. I don't know what they're doing in the background. It leaves me hopeful that is room for improvement. But will you get 60 on console? I don't think so. I don't think the CPU horsepower is there. It's just not clocked high enough, you know?
Fair enough. Fair enough. Let's give a shout out to the chat because we got a lot of amazing people who've kind of shown up since the start of the show. Let's give a shout out to obviously Jago Kukan, our good brother Jago. What's happening, my friend? We got Cyber Gunter is in the building. Albert G is hanging out with us tonight. We got John 907. Talis Ray still here. Percolator 9000 is hanging out with us as well. Good to see you here, my friend. We've also got John Wolf is in the building, fresh off his podcast with Kea Santi earlier this evening. Good to see you. Notorious is here as well. I see 2Pad Stack has been in the building tonight. Good to see you hanging out in the chat. Jaguar Gaming Network is here as well. Rob, and again, Jaguar, thank you for the fantastic, shout out and certainly the love on social media. Greatly appreciate it, man. It's comments like yours that pull me through some of the times that I want to call all this stuff shitty or call it quits. We got Ryan Galloway, my good brother. What's happening? Good to see you in the building. Timmy is here as well, and Curry Cosmos, T Rock 40 in the house. What's going on, T Rock? Axel, and many, many more. You guys are fabulous. Thank you for being here and being a part of the show. All right, let's keep on rocking, guys. we'll come back to more Starfield in the future. I mean, obviously, a lot of people are not anywhere close to finish. There's a lot more to be said and done about this game. Any final thoughts, though, before we just kind of move on to the next topic time? Anything newcomers should probably know before they jump in, because obviously there's going to be a lot of newcomers in a day or so, and apparently the tutorials are a little bit light. So maybe something you can say, hey, if you're going to do this, or maybe you should do this starting out.
I always try and build an outpost when I start games like this. Still haven't found out. I have found outpost engineering on the science tab and your your
skill trees.
Yeah, in the skill tree.
Yeah.
So I think you got to get that before you can do it, but I don't know. I don't know if it's unlockable by a mission. That's one thing I am definitely on the lookout for, because I did the ship building and whatnot. That was easy, but I have no clue how to go about building an outpost and whatnot.
Yeah, I have no clue. But one thing that I thought was really cool, when you join the Vanguard, there's the museum that you can just walk right through if you want to. But if you actually watch all the videos, there's some really cool lore in there, or just go through all the little displays they have and actually hit the button and listen to it, and they give you the history of how it'll kind of, it's pretty cool. It take you maybe 20 minutes to do that, but I think it's worth it.
Is that the same place that the lodge is at? Is it the same city?
Yeah, same planet. Yeah, same city. Okay. Yeah.
All right, I know what you're
so when you go in and join the Vanguard, actually go through and
see, I did not join the Vanguard. I turned them down, and then I went another direction.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and then that's when the boring thing hit. So I think since you went the Vanguard route, you dodged that for now. But they're all right. So for new players, you're gonna get used to it, the way the map goes and getting it. There's a way to cut out on a lot of loading screens, because they do kind of make it seamless. They just don't tell you. So, when you're doing a mission or whatever, and it's off on another planet, I highly recommend, like at the beginning, you got to kind of go one planet to one planet to get the route down. But once you like unlock that route, then you can go pretty much fly willy-nilly, from one place to way over there and whatnot. But you got to get them, you got to travel there first. That's kind of like, I don't know, the legwork of it all, I guess you could say. But after you've done that legwork, let's say, because it will take you from one planet to another system often. So my biggest hint is hit the start button, down, go to your missions, and then it'll say you can highlight that mission that you want, make sure it's highlighted. So it's marking you the right place. And then you're going to hit X, and it'll say something like course, plot a course to this mission or something like that. And that's what you want to do. Otherwise, you're going to go through a lot more loading screens unless you go to that plot, and you don't even got to be in your ship, because going in your ship is another load screen. So don't even go in your ship. As long as you're not encumbered, you can do it. Okay. And that's going to save you a lot of time.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, so far, it definitely sounds like the chat and obviously this panel, excluding myself because I've not played this game yet, are very, very positive on it. That's a good sign. So I'd say good job, Bethesda. Good job, Xbox, on a job well done so far. And hopefully people, the test of time is the key, right? Will this Starfield game end up much like their last big RPG, and that was Skyrim, which Skyrim became such a juggernaut. It became merchandise. It became talked about for years after. It ended up on almost every platform under the sun. It was pretty much almost on your refrigerator at one point in time. You know what I mean? Like, so, is Starfield that next big thing for these guys? We're not quite sure. The verdict is still out there, but, my God, it's great to explore space the freedom that comes with sort of the Bethesda RPGs, the kind of to carve your own course, so to speak, and not exactly, like I said, have the same experience that the next guy or girl is going to have playing this game. So kudos to them, and I can't wait to jump in.
Yeah, no, and you're gonna. I think you'll like it, Noof. I could see this being a TV series, to be perfectly honest. It's got all the hallmarks of what could make a great show, I think.
Well, they got all the voice lines, that's for sure.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
What's going on, Papa Woody?
When you get into that place that's got the drugs, that sells the drugs, Aurora. When you get to that city that has the Aurora where it's legal, I can't remember what it's called, but
okay.
That place is very reminiscent of Cyberpunk to me for some reason. I get the Cyberpunk vibe when I go through there. A lot of people, pretty small area, a lot of alleyways and whatnot. And the lighting in and of itself, a lot of neon lights and stuff like that. Very, very cyberpunkish.
Gone.
And you can't go bad.
I want to go play, so we'll see you guys later.
I know, right?
Well, that's the end off. That's always a great sign. That's always a great sign of at least a game that you really like. Whether somebody else might think it's trash, but a game that you know is really good for you is when you're always itching to play it when you're not. When you're thinking about a game at work or at school or wherever it might be, and you want to come back and play it, those are the kind of games that you have to say, whatever it was, it's grabbed me. It's got my attention. It's the kind of game that's reeling me in. And there's very few games that come along to do that for me in particular. Like even I find myself, and it's kind of funny, over and over, I keep going back to the Tomb Raider series. I love those games. I don't know what it is about them, but I'd rather play those games than like 90% of all the other games. I'd rather play them 3 or 4 times than play half the stuff. There's something about those games that I just love. The mechanics, the story, like I'm playing Rise of the Tomb Raider. Game came out in 2017 and still looks absolutely stunning today. It's just that game is one of the greatest games I've ever played in my entire life, and I can't talk about that game enough. It's just incredible. But anyway, let's move the needle and let's get on to the closing of Violition Games. For those not familiar, they are the creators of Saints Row. It was probably one of their most popular titles of all time, and it sort of hit its peak for a while. By the time it got to Saints Row 3, it was starting to see a bit of its peak and then kind of fell off a little bit. As we all know, the Saints Row tried to be a GTA clone originally, and then it kind of spearheaded its way off into a less serious direction, trying to obviously do something that GTA wasn't trying to do. And they're both pretty non-serious. At times GTA's got its fair share of silliness, but I mean, Saints Row brought in like all sorts of weird shit over time and had some crazy ass games. And of course, the new one, they tried to reboot the franchise and bring it out. I think it was last year, and it just didn't jive with people. People just kind of forgot about it as quickly as it came out. Like I said, it's too sad. It's very sad to see another studio close, and obviously they are part of the Embracer Group, if my memory serves me correctly, and they made the decision to kind of pull the plug. So what happened there, and what does this ultimately mean for the Saints Row franchise? For you guys, what's the last Saints Row game that you played, if any, and what did you like, and what do you think went wrong?
Been a
last
while
one for me was 3.
Yeah, that's the last time I played one too.
And I don't even think I finished it, to be honest.
I never finished any of them.
Yeah, you and me neither. I probably got maybe halfway, if that. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. The games they just never really grabbed me. You know, I've always had a hard time trying to understand what it was trying to be. You know, what kind of identity the game had, and one hand, it was just kind of, corny and off the wall, and I don't know, just never really grabbed me. But
it's like if Crackdown 3 and GTA had a baby, I feel like, I feel like that's the product we would get.
Yeah,
because it is trying to be crazy. It's trying to and completely off the wall at some points.
Yeah, it gets ridiculous.
Like, maybe a little bit too ridiculous. I don't know.
Well, they were hoping that was one of the selling features, right? Because obviously a lot of the kids and people that certainly keep GTA alive, they kind of do get wrapped into the silliness. If you look at the GTA Online stuff, I mean, half of that is borderline just ridiculous. So maybe they were hoping that maybe they would capture some of that magic. But I think that's the thing. Like, GTA really set the bar so high that virtually any other game that came out in the same vein just had a big lofty target to hit and just never came close. And That's the thing. It's kind of like the Call of Duty conundrum, right? How many shooters come out that try to be Call of Duty or try to emulate it, and nobody's even come close. Like, not even, I'm not talking about they haven't made great games, but nobody's even come close to that level of success. Even with Titanfall, made by the ex-developers of Call of Duty, still not have hit that level of success. Even though I love Titanfall and I think it's an amazing game. Yeah, they're kind of scoring pretty well with Apex Legends, but any of that free-to-play shit, man, I just miss that, because until it becomes a full $60 or $70 game on the market, all of those free games basically get to me, they just get free placement anyway, because most people just jump in for free and then they hook an audience because they don't need a subscription fee. They don't have to pay a monthly fee. Half of those games wouldn't even be alive today if it wasn't for the free-to-play model. So that's all I'm saying there, but yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on here with this. It's sad to see.
My question is, what happens to the IP? And if it just kind of like, who owns the IP?
Embracer will most likely own the IP.
Embracer. Yeah.
So Embracer just has this IP and no one to develop it. Why not sell off the IP? Is a question I have. Or
who would want it? That's the thing. If the game took 4 or 5 iterations and still basically tanked sales wise, who wants to gamble on that game? Who's willing to invest in that?
This might be really intelligent by them, because I imagine they poured through the data. They saw probably a huge dip in the last one that was made, because I think it was someone in the chat said they saw it and like they had no interest. And if all three of us, the last one we played was 3, then they obviously went down a wrong road or something along the development line. They made some poor decisions when developing, and bad decisions all around, I'm guessing. So this might be actually one of those shutdowns that kind of makes sense to me. Maybe get another developer on it down the road, maybe when people are like thirsty for it, like, oh, it's been like 5 years, we haven't had any Saints Row, man. You remember Saints Row? Like, that's what I feel like that's what this needs to go through. It needs to go through like a time of like being away from it to like build that hype back up, kind of thing.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And do a complete reboot as well. Maybe change the strategy a little bit, leverage the name, the IP in general. Could even keep some of the same characters and stuff, but just maybe change paths a bit and get away from the level of crazy it was at that had me kind of going, oh, geez.
Well, the fact you mentioned characters, Mental, that's actually a great point, because if there's one thing that whether it's GTA or Saints Row share in common, is the fact that the games have had interesting characters, but they've never been centralized around one. They've never had a main villain or a main protagonist, right? Every GTA game had a different character that you played. GTA 5 actually had 3, right? So in Saints Row, much the same. Like couldn't they take like a Halo approach, or where you have the one main protagonist who actually extends into other games, other cities? You know what I mean? Maybe that's the way to go. Actually, give you a character that you can identify with and actually see him grow. I mean, maybe you come back with Saints Row, and in the first game he's 19. By the time you get to the second game, he's like 22 or 35, and life has changed. You know what I mean? Like something like that, where you can have episodic content and actually develop like a narrative or a timeline, so to speak, actually make people invested in a character for a change. Because that's the problem with those games. They're like fun and you do them for a romp, but nobody cares. Nobody remembers the stories in those games. Nobody cares about them. And maybe that's the thing. Yeah. They need to make a game that people care about, and maybe also go to the point, maybe get away from the silliness and bring Saints Row back sort of to its original roots, like the first game, and go a little bit more hardcore. And bring in some ultra violence, and bring in like maybe some actual actors or actual likenesses of actual Hollywood actors to come and reprise these roles, so people would recognize someone.
I like getting back to the hardcore one. All right, so when you said kind of generation, like I've noticed like a lot of these like survival games even that have come to Xbox lately, like that one I like. That medieval survival game, birds blanking on the name on it, but anyways, it's a medieval survival game, but you can like play through generations. So like if you die, if you have a son, you take over as that son, and and it's all about economy. You building your own settlement and your buildings and whatnot, and you have people come into your settlement and they all have jobs. Starfield is kind of, you get followers or whatever, and you sign them to jobs. I heard you do this. I haven't done it yet, but I know you can assign them to different jobs, and you can assign them to ships too, I believe. So I've yet to see that from Starfield. I'm wondering, Starfield isn't generational though, is it? I don't think so. I haven't heard anything about that, but that's kind of curious to me.
We got a couple of super chats real quick. We'll get those out of the way before we continue this conversation. Let's bring up the first one. Came in earlier from our good friend Percolator 9000. He drops $5. Go ahead, Titan.
Hello, everyone. Titan. Love the game. My eyes suck. I can't tell 60 FPS and 30 FPS. I just enjoy the game. Smiles. Excellent.
Yes, mute your mic, Titan, you said. And we have another super chat coming in versus Angel Azrael 17 or Angel Azrael 7, sorry. $5. Go ahead, Titan.
Greetings. All happy to be here. Love the show. Woke up in South Australia. Ooh. Damn, what a place to wake up at. Yeah. From longtime fan, also known as Soren X. Oh, it's Soren, dude. Freaking nice. New York Soren. Freaking keep you. Oh my God. What Soren? What the hell did you get
keep
yourself
up the good
into?
Work.
Waking up in Australia. What? You need to let me know what the hell's going on with you, buddy.
Good to hear from you, man. Thanks for the super chat, and like to know that you are enjoying the podcast. It's great to see you, man, and hopefully all is well in Southern Australia. Alrighty, back to the Violition.
You don't got hair like that. Take that hair off that avatar. What were you saying, Noob? Say that again.
No, continue the conversation.
No, I was just saying, I don't think it's generational. So that's kind of weird to me. This long setup game is not, I guess, they don't really plan on you dying or whatever. It is kind of just your story, which I can get down with that too. I like that.
I think Starfield's going to live on for a long time just because of the modding community. I think that's
right.
The game will just keep going, and you'll have new content added, and I think it's still going to be a topic of conversation. Years from now, we'll still be talking about Starfield.
I'm wondering what the first DLC they'll come out with, because some of the best DLC I've ever played came from Bethesda, and that was Oblivion. I loved all the DLC from Oblivion. If they can come out with something half as good as that, I'm going to be happy. I'm getting back on the Starfield train again. Yeah. I haven't. Someone said in the chat, they're only level 10. You don't level up as fast as you used to. I feel like that leveling system is very slow, and they've changed that way up.
Yeah,
I'm talking. You get a kill, you get 2 XP.
Right. Good stuff. Anyway, any further thoughts about the Violition? I mean, personally, like I said, I played the first game, the second game, and dabbled with the third, and never really played it after. It just started to lose me. The kind of less serious it got, the less I could take it seriously. You know what I mean? It just started. They were going to hell and stuff, get out of hell, and they were starting to get these weird guns, and it just became like the silly version of GTA. But was never quite as refined. So, like, I know there are some super duper fans of the series, and it's sad for them. But overall, to me, it was just a game that it was a wannabe game.
Was there aliens in the third one?
They had aliens in one of them. There was all sorts of shit.
Because that's the last one I played, was the one that had aliens. So
yeah, I think it was the number 3, and that's when it started going off the rails completely.
I felt like they didn't want to be a GTA clone, and that's how they went about doing that. Is to go all fucking nutty, and going that nutty kind of like just turned people's head,
right?
Yeah. So I think.
Well, I think that's kind of what sells GTA. I think that's what sells GTA is a lot of people, is that it does emulate realism to a certain degree. I'm not saying it's entirely, but like traffic and people and going to the clubs, and there's a lot of stuff that happens in a GTA game that you go, holy shit, this fucking really feels like a real city, you know what I mean? And and the characters, despite all the wacky dialogue and stuff, like you can get into GTA, and it's like, damn, especially in GTA 5, they just killed it, and I can't wait to see where 6 is going to take us. Oh my god.
Talos Ray said it in the chat too. He's like, Xbox could make their own GTA. I think he's absolutely right. Xbox is the RPG box. If anyone else can do it, it's freaking they got so much talent over there with RPGs. Why not? Why not make a knockoff? Why not? Man, I mean, Violition. So what happened to all the people working at Violition? Are they free agents now?
Yeah, I'm sure some of their talent will end up at other studios, or perhaps within studios that are owned by Embracer, quite possibly. But yeah, Activision. There you go. True Crime. That would be cool to bring that back. Yeah, that was a good series, and that has potential if they wanted to bring back the IP. So, yeah. Jenna is in the chat. What's going on, Jenna? Long time no see. He says, yeah, number 3 was the best of the Saints Row. After that was all downhill. That was definitely one of the better ones, and you're absolutely right. It started to quickly drop off, and that was starting to get silly. But that one just, but after that, they really got funny. Started going lots of neon colors and weird costumes, but the one cool thing with some of the Saints Row games is you could always play them with your friends. At least the later series games, you could co-op them, and that was really cool. Something you can't do with the GTA series. So, right, but there you go. All right, guys. Last topic of the night, and this one is a generalized topic in a sense, because if there's one trend we've seen in gaming and in subscription services in the last year in particular, is they're going up, baby. They are going up faster than a Viagra subscription right now. Our prescription. And the latest.
Dude's got the subscription.
yeah, Viagra subscription. Yeah.
Just outed yourself there,
He's like, I got no money for other subscriptions, just Viagra.
Yeah, just Viagra, man. You don't need anything else, just but Viagra. You're gonna get a raise every day.
We just found out why Noob hates subscriptions.
Yeah. I got no money for the next prescription, man.
I ain't gonna make it up. I ain't gonna be up for the next month rolls around.
Yeah, and see, there's a reason my blood pressure's so high tonight, right?
Noob's moved on to Blue Chew.
Oh man, but anyway, things are going up. We saw Game Pass go up and restructure. We're seeing a lot of different things go up. The latest one, and this one comes a bit of a shocker to me, is that PlayStation. Well, I guess I shouldn't really be shocked, but the fact is, that was only about a year ago or so when they already upped the price of PlayStation Plus and their services, and now they're whacking it up again. As a matter of fact, about $20 up, which right now I think currently $69.99 for PlayStation Plus Essential in Canada. That's going to bring us a little bit closer, probably about $100 now by the time your taxes are in. So, look, me personally, it's not the end of the world. I'm just going to start off with my perspective, because I probably play the most PlayStation perhaps of either one of us here, potentially. I've gotten a lot of value out of PlayStation Plus, because I was just looking at my the games and showing my buddy Seamus like a couple weeks ago, like the amount of games I've downloaded from PlayStation Plus Essential is insane, and they're not like shitty ass games. Like some of these games are quite a bit of money. So like if they keep on giving us great games, the $100 isn't going to seem that bad. But regardless, it's still like a big jump. It's $20, and this month is kind of funny because the PlayStation fans are pretty upset about it, at least some of the diehards. And one of the things is like this month alone, like some of the worst games they've given in PlayStation Plus in a long time. What are some of the ones they got coming out this month for PlayStation Plus? I'm trying to think of what they are.
I just looked at them.
They can't be that good if I already forgot what the fuck they are.
Oh man.
PlayStation. Here you go. I'll bring it up here. I got it on the list. This is the ones for September. All right, let me see what we got here. Speaking of Violition, Saints Row, the reboot. I knew I was going somewhere with that. So Saints Row, the reboot, is actually their free game, plus a survival shooter called Generation Zero. And they're going to give out online multiplayer game Black Desert. I'm assuming sort of because you can play that game free to play. So I'm guessing they're giving you sort of like the paid version where you'll probably have extra content. So personally, I that's one of the most lackluster months that I recall from PlayStation Plus in quite some time. and it comes right on the Verge of this news. So of course, people are upset about that. They're like, "Jesus, if you're going to put up the cost, at least you can do is give us some great games this month." You know,
like put Starfield in there.
Yeah, let's get Starfield on there.
Or a YouTube subscription so I could watch some gameplay.
So Jim Ryan set this all up. The PlayStation, Starfield was supposed to release, by now, and they're like, "Oh, we'll have Starfield. We'll up it for when Starfield enters our subscription service." They just forgot that, Xbox bought Bethesda. They left that on the back burner. There was this whole Activision deal, and then they forgot that we're raising the price, and we got we got no reason for it. Wouldn't that be funny if that's what actually happened?
Right?
Oh, jeez.
Because this raise doesn't make any sense. It's like, thank God, man. Like, how financially in trouble? All these price increases and charging people for the same thing as many times over as they possibly can. That screams
record profits.
It's
gouging.
Well, they need more money to make those massive bangers they got coming down the pipeline. I guess they're not making enough per sale on their single-player games, so they got to get some extra money somewhere.
And they're going to be losing profits from.
Got to pay for that.
What? What's that? Is that the game? That's the game code, is it?
Yeah. It is. Yeah, it comes with the console, right?
Right, but you can't download it yet because the game's not out, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
But yeah, it reeks of just greed, Yeah. To be perfectly honest, I don't know, when you're posting billions in revenue and record profits, and then you're raising prices again, and
right.
Yeah. It just, I'm not a fan of that.
Well, not to mention, this isn't the grocery business. I mean, where inflation hits harder because you got to pay the gas costs and trucking and stuff. I mean, we're not even talking about games that are shipped anymore via plane, train, or automobile. These games are digital, which basically costs them nothing to ship anything. They don't have to pack anything. So what are we ultimately paying for? Like, that's the thing. They're upping everything now, but we're not getting more. You're technically off a lot of times getting less.
Yeah, I mean, I can say data center costs have gone up. Yeah. I mean, I see that in my world, and it has to do with increasing energy costs. And I was
going to say employee salaries haven't gone up, though.
No, they haven't. But, you have that trickle-down effect, right? Cheap energy is the key to keeping costs down. And when you see energy prices going up everywhere, you're going to end up with price increases on everything. It's just the facts of life, right? When a store has to pay more to keep the lights on, you got to pay more to keep your servers running. You're going to filter that cost somewhere. It's always the little guys at the end of the consumer chain that pays for it, right?
Right.
So I don't know if they're going to use that as an excuse or what the excuse is for it. But I mean, this is a pretty significant price increase across the board. I mean, maybe, mission accomplished. I topped up my PS Plus. I added a couple of years to it at a cheaper price before it went up. Now I was going to actually let it expire, but because I bought the PS5, now I was like, dang it, I guess I should probably keep this alive and take advantage of some of the free games. And then, like an idiot, I even upped it to include the subscription stuff because I was looking at that and going, oh geez, there's like 4 games in there I'd like to play. So now if I just upgrade to that, then that's less than the cost of the 4 games would be to go buy them. And so they got me now for a couple of years with the whole shebang, right? But I did it before September 6th, so I didn't have to pay the increase.
Yeah, like what Chio said in the chat. He says he probably took a big hit from the PSVR lack of sales, and they're trying to make up for it. Man, because to me, I mean, I'll give them credit. Like, I see when PSVR 2 came out, there was a little bit of hype, a little bit of stuff going on, but my God, it feels like it's just like, what the hell has happened since? It's
flatlined.
Like nothing. It's like, I don't even hardly see them promoted all of a sudden. It's like, geez Louise, guys. First of all, you need to start getting on the promotions, and 2, you need to probably drop the price of it down a little bit to make it a little more attractive and get it into more houses, man. Especially with PS5s now being readily available in stores. Now would be the optimal time to drop the PSVR 2 price a little bit and have more people try it out, because where it's at right now with the still the high cost of the console, they need to get on that, man. They're going to miss the boat if they don't if they don't swallow a bullet somewhere.
Yeah. Completely agree. How much was how much is that in Canada anyway? It's got to be. It's more than the console, isn't it?
The Canada, the PS5 disc edition right now goes for $650, $649.99. The PSVR 2 is $7 something, I think, without a game, and then about $7.99 with the game pack in.
Yeah, so I mean, you're up at like $1,500 basically to just play VR.
Exactly.
That's a pretty steep pill to swallow there.
And now $100 to play anything online too. So there you go.
Yeah, it'll be. I bet you it's over 100 in Canada. I don't know what it's going to be, but if you just do the simple, plus 33%, you're looking at closer to $110 is what it's going to end up here.
Mm-hmm.
Plus.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't regret my PSVR purchase. I mean, it's an amazing piece of tech, and it's head and shoulders above the original. But again, you can't build a platform without great games, and there's been a bit of a trickle of them ever since. And I find a lot of them in the store are overpriced as well. Like they're charging you more for games that you were getting for less, essentially, on the Oculus Quest 2, which is now the Meta Quest 2 or whatever the hell they call it. So you're charging more for essentially the same game. Yes, it might have better graphics, a little higher performance or whatever, but this is where we're at with this right now. And it's not a good look. And again, when you got to bundle that shit all together, man, that's a heavy price to swallow for people.
Yeah, it's not cheap, that's for sure. And I struggle to understand exactly where the cost is in it that they need to charge that much. Yeah. It's another one of those things where accessories.
About the only thing that right off the hop for me that's that I like is the fact, yes, the only thing you need to run it is essentially your PlayStation account, because I don't like how Meta is super tied to the Facebook system, and how you have to watch everything you say, everything's sort of being monitored. It's filled with friggin' advertisements and stuff. So that's the thing the problem that I found with the Meta Quest when it first came out was all of that stuff. It was just annoying. But, it's a very popular, successful system because it doesn't require console or PC to run. It's the cheapest hit the ground running VR. And it has a lot of fun apps, not to mention some great games on there too. So,
yeah.
Yes, but subscription services in general, though, it's like I said, it's not just a PlayStation thing, but this really puts the eyes back on the industry. Certainly puts the ball back in PlayStation's court. It's not a good look with the way things are going. Also starts to make you wonder, okay, like Game Pass is going through that change and their increase, but how much longer before perhaps that goes up again? Like there's got to be a ceiling. There's got to be some of these companies got to take a step back and say, like, we got to give our fans a break, because we're getting to the point now where they're charging you full price for games and still charging you a pile for microtransactions within the game. Like how much freaking money do these guys need, and how much abuse are we taking? How much vulnerability taking advantage? Because at this point, it's taking advantage. I mean, some of the smarter gamers, yeah, they know what they're in for, and they're not going to spend that money, right? But there's a lot of people out there that'll buy the full price games, still spend hundreds of dollars within that ecosystem. And I've always got it. I kind of get it with the free to play stuff. They're not giving it to you free to play for nothing. That's the whole point. Let's get the bigger audience and then get a piece of the pie with people buying microtransactions. But even if you look at Fortnite, right? And I've had the biggest problem I found with Fortnite is how much they are for skins. They're absolutely ludicrous, the prices they charge. And on top of that, you got to buy the stupid the points or whatever that they do. They don't really do it in money. So you got to buy these points, and they always give you enough to get one thing. And then when you're done buying that one thing, you're left over with not enough to get something else. So you literally have to go buy more points. Like these guys are, I don't know.
Strategy.
It's foul and it's cheap, and I hate it. So I got 600 points left, but the next thing I got to buy is 1,000. So guess what you got to do? You got to go buy another $20 worth of points, enough to get the extra to buy that other skin, and the cycle continues. And I bet you there's a lot of people out there doing that.
And it gets even worse when they break it down even to tens, like 240 gems for this chest. They do that in Smite.
Remember the 360
then you're left
era
with
when
60 gems somewhere along the line that can't do anything.
Remember when we used to think was a lot for DLC and stuff back in the 360 gen when Call of Duty sort of started becoming the ones who kind of overcharged? And now we look at that gen and go, holy shit, that was cheap. We paid like $2, like officially Canadian, or $1. Like a lot of these skins you'd buy for like literally less than $1. Now these skins are $15 today.
$20.
Takes them probably five minutes to create a skin. I bet you most of it is just the price of licensing the shit. That's half of it, because they got to go and spend licensing money, obviously, to get Star Wars characters or Marvel characters or whoever the hell it might be. So yeah, they do have to pay for that shit. They're not getting that for free, but like still, it's just well overpriced now. This is the point.
There's still a lot of Call of Duty skins, like, you know, that are coming out now, like, you know, tracer packs, right? That never used to be a thing. Now you can get like tracers, and then they got the you know, when you kill someone, they can like disintegrate or whatever. That's another microtransaction. They've come out with some pretty interesting ways to add to their profits, man.
Yeah,
a lot of new and interesting ways that just never used to. Was it what
on
is
that front? Halo. I mean, they got a lot of flack for their store, like the cost of skins and whatnot initially, and they did lower it. But now that Halo's doing well in terms of, you know, the game is people, you know, if you play it, it's really good now. Like the game is really good. Actually just watched the tournament from this past weekend. Optic one, but yeah, anyway, the for anyone that cares, but the green wall was victorious. When you look at the cost of some of those skins, it's $20 for a skin pack, and it's like, really, you know, like
that's brutal.
$20 for, and it's like cosmetics, right? You know, and they give you all the stuff that you get, you know, tends to look kind of cruddy in comparison. You know, like if you want a skin for your Spartan that's not all scarred up and you want something that looks pretty flashy, where do you get it? It's in the store. You know, it's
yeah, and I love the old bait and hook too, you know, where they make some of these skins available in the game, but you literally got to play like 100 hours and get these insane levels to get the skin for free, or you pay the money. So most people are like, fuck it, I'll just pay the $10 or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I'll say is at least it's not pay to win, right? It doesn't give you an advantage in the game. It's just cosmetic, and if you want to look good, well, I guess you pay to look good. It's kind of like the real world, right? You got to have a good plastic surgeon if you want to look good. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems a little outrageous. Like, how much time did they really spend on that skin? You know, how much really went into that?
Exactly.
A couple hours of a good artist time and it's done, you know.
So I got a question for you guys and the chat. What's going to come out first? Is the 60 FPS patch for the hell is that co-op Redfall? Is the 60 FPS for Redfall patch going to come out first, or is the Halo Battle Royale coming out first? Is that what you?
No, that's not what I was thinking, actually. But
I'd be willing to put my money on the 60 frames for Redfall before we see a Halo Battle Royale.
What were you thinking, mental?
I thought you were going to take a shot at Sony with the Last of Us Factions or whatever it's called. Oh, that people have been waiting for the last
never
decade.
Coming out with
But I thought that's where you're heading with that. But
that's a good one, though. What do you think is going to come out first? 60 FPS patch or Halo VR?
If they're going to spend the time on it and try and like save some face, I would say the 60 FPS patch. I don't know how much they care at this point. The game's it's been out a while. I kind of would have expected it to sort of at least be hinted at by now if it was going to come out. So I don't know.
What do you mean if it's coming out? They've said it. They've confirmed it.
There's not much happening though. I haven't heard any. Well, maybe it's just because I've been too much into the Starfield thing that I haven't been paying attention. Maybe I've missed some news, but I would still say
I didn't hear anything,
patch.
But you're in the same boat as me. That's why I'm saying, like, what's going to come first? Because both of those have just been a barren wasteland. We haven't heard about either one in a long time.
I really liked that mode that they had. I forget what it was called. It was like the 12-player sort of free for all, but you only had like 5 or 6 lives. You could die that many times. Geez, what the heck was that mode called?
was kind of like a mini big team battle or mini like King of the Hill or whatever you want to call it, but your battle royale, right? But just 12 players. I really enjoyed playing that. I thought was a lot of fun. Definitely some strategy involved in that one, and it's funny how, you know, one game you're the king, you win everything, and the next game you're like out like instantly, your first guy out because you just get, you know, bad spawns or whatever, and you're surrounded all the time. But I really enjoyed that game.
Okay,
that was
we got a question for you guys and the chat, obviously, just to I put it out there. But who do you guys want to see this week before we end the show? Do you guys have questions for Safe House, Cletus, or Handy Andy? I'm only going to do one this week because we're running late on time, and we had Arnold in last week, so it's time to rotate the menu here. So if you guys got questions, get them ready. But who would you like to see come on and answer some questions this week? Again, that's Cletus, Safe House, or Handy Andy. Let me know in the chat or to my panel, which guy would you rather come on here and see fired up?
my vote is Safe House. My vote.
Safe House.
I was gonna say like Safe House probably too. Yeah, it's been a little while for Safe House.
Yeah,
just the whole story behind Safe House. Yeah, it cracks me up. Yeah. His origin story is a good one.
Chalice races Cletus. All right. Safe House, bro. All right. Looks like we got 3 for Safe House so far between Titan, Mental, and John. All right. Get your questions ready. Yeah, I think it's time to bring in Safe House Sam. So, all right. So I'm going to go get him. He's just lurking in the background here. So let's bring him in and we'll have some questions. And yeah, I think we're done with the other topic anyway. What can you say, man? Price increases are coming. They're part of life, but you know, hopefully this is the last one for a while because things are getting pretty pricey in the gaming world.
They'll keep coming as long as people keep paying the price.
Right,
you know?
That's true.
Until people just, you know, start unsubscribing, you'd be amazed at how fast those prices would drop if subscriptions went down.
You see, that's the funny thing, right? You know, everybody talks about inflation, this, that, and something else, and how prices go up. But did they not realize that prices can go down? Like, it's okay to say, well, we charged you $69, but now we're going back to $49. No one's going to complain. As a matter of fact, you might get a pat on the back. But why are people just afraid to roll back prices? It's not like they're not making any money, but it seems like once shit goes up, it's like, why not all these fast food places start rolling back their prices again? They're getting ridiculous now. You know, like it's and they wonder why, you know, numbers are going down and people aren't visiting their stores like they used to. Well, people just can't afford it. Families going to McDonald's now are paying astronomical amounts of money, and it's crazy. Like, you know, I watched a video on that the other guy. The guy was like, "Yeah, man, when I was in school, I used to live on those cheeseburgers. Now these cheeseburgers costing like $3 and shit like that." And it's like, you know what I mean? So crazy. So anyway.
Can blow $60 on a family of 4 in a heartbeat,
right? Yeah, you can't walk out of a restaurant now without an easy $50 bill gone. So like, and they want you to, people don't come to my restaurant. Well, dude, stop charging. Like, fuck, I went somewhere the other day and paid fucking $20 for a pound of chicken wings. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Me and Zelda have.
Do you remember 25-cent wing nights?
Right.
Did you guys
I remember 10-cent wing nights.
Yeah, like you could go in because the wings were like nobody wanted wings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like who wants wings when you don't get chicken? Like that's like the worst part of it, right? But as soon as they start getting popular now, it's insane what they charge for them. Can't believe it.
The little bit of meat's under. If you scraped off every bit of meat on your 10 chicken wings, it's probably not enough to make 2 pieces of chicken, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Charging stupid amounts of money, but we pay it. That's it, because that's, you know, status quo, right? So, right, it's crazy now, man, crazy. But anyway,
well, then you got people in Canada, you know, complaining that, you know, they can't go on with life. Like it's time to move back in with the parents because apparently cost of living up there is ridiculous.
It is. Well,
it's crazy.
I just read an article. Almost 2/3 of Canadians are no longer able to make ends meet on a monthly basis, and they're going backwards between mortgage rate increases and everything else. Yeah. So what does that tell you is going to happen here pretty soon?
Just in the last 2 years alone, our mortgages went from about average of $1,500 across Canada are now like more like $2,500.
Well, the thing is, we got a fixed rate loan, right? Thing is, our taxes went up.
Right.
So Nothing you can do about that. Taxes went up for freaking property.
Yeah, that's our federal government here. That's their legacy, has been increasing taxes consistently and regularly, and they've driven the cost of living up here dramatically in the time they've been in office. It's just brutal. But anyway, I don't want to get all.
Thank God the cost of bullets at Canadian Tire is still cheap. Put one in my head.
Hey, here's a one for you, Noof. Have you heard about how some of that Canadian Tire money? Remember that Canadian Tire money you get? That crap, some of it's worth a lot of money. Like, people will pay you for Canadian Tire money.
What the hell are you talking about?
So, if you're familiar, one of the biggest franchises up here in Canada, is called Canadian Tire, right? It's a store that's kind of like Walmart in a sense, but it was always basically based around
more than just tires.
Yeah, it's sporting goods and household goods, and they do have, every Canadian Tire has obviously garages and stuff like mechanics and fixing your cars and shit, right? But it's kind of like an average everyday store for most Canadians, that sort of thing.
It's just there today.
Almost every major city has one. It's pretty synonymous up here. And and for years they came out with this, looked like Monopoly money. It was like colored money. So every time you went into the store and you bought something, they would give you back like this change. So it'd be 50 cents or $1, depending on how much you spent. And you could collect it and then basically go back and redeem it in the store at some point. I don't think they use it anymore now, right?
No, you don't get it anymore.
Right.
But yeah, it's weird. It's like Monopoly money, but it's actually worth money.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know. It's like paper Bitcoin, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, Vinay. Monster 530's in the chat. What's going on? Good to see you here as well. Yes, we got a great crew in the chat, and now it is time to bring in Safe SM so we can close out this show. A couple questions real quick. I think we had one in the chat earlier, and I think this one comes in via Donkey Dog.
Safe House, what's more expensive, PlayStation Plus or a good hooker?
Well, God, there you know it. It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while, and I'm really glad to be here. First of all, I wanted to say I am very disappointed, because tonight I was sitting here scratching my balls, and I was hoping that Doom Cutie was going to be on here, because she really lives up to her name, Doom Cutie. She is cute and all of that in the bag of chips, but she ain't here. So Doom Cutie, you missed out on a good one, because I can't harass you now. That's sad. But anyway, Doggy Dog, to get back, answer your old fucking question, you cock ass. First of all, you know what? Honestly, it's getting cheaper to go get a hooker now than PlayStation Plus or anything else. I don't trust. See, that's the thing. I can trust a hooker, because you go and spend your money on a hooker, you guarantee you're going to come home with an STD, but you don't know what you're going to get with PlayStation. Right? You don't know what Jim Ryan is going to have up his sleeve either more. He's going to tell you this game coming out. You don't see it. He's going to tell you we're going to keep prices low. You don't see it. He's going to tell you the PlayStation can do 8K. Fucking they can't even do 4K, motherfucker. You know what? At least my hookers see all come in 4K. I can see every pimple and every damn crotch here, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Fuck
at least
you
know what.
PlayStation and your increases. If I wanted an increase, I get a Viagra prescription.
At least you know what virus you're going to get after you leave a hooker, ain't that right?
Fuck yeah. Right. Fuck yeah. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get the dirtiest hooker, and I'm going to send her to Jim Ryan's house free of fucking charge. Here you go, Jim Ryan. This one's on me. She is going to, you know what? When you go deep in her trench, it's going to feel like you got a Vaseline in them, but that one's going to feel like a there.
Safe House, I got one for you. What can't you wait to do in Starfield first?
I don't give a fuck. Fuck, man. I've already been living in Starfield the last fucking 20, 30 years of my life. There's fucking space going around all the time. I've already been in the Starfield. I've already been to the moon and back, and most sons of bitches didn't know. I hitched a ride back in the 1960s on the fucking space shuttle. I was up there with Neil Armstrong. How do you think my voice got this way? That's because I stuck my head outside the cockpit too long. That's what happened up there. I had hookers in space. I the first guy to have a jizz bomb up on the moon, baby. I had hookers up on the. We piloted it all live, baby. I didn't need zero gravity for shit to go up. You know what I'm saying? Fuck yeah, man. Bring all that stuff in. That game looks fucking fine, man. I just want to go around shooting space pirates and fucking hookers. That's all I go. Is there any hookers in that game? Anybody come across any Starfield hookers? There better be some fucking sexy.
That one city that I can't think of the name.
Chicks in that fucking stomach. Because every time I've seen a video so far, I've seen fucking people with googly eyes and weird ass expressions. They look like some of the homeless chicks I see at McDonald's at fucking 4 o'clock in the morning.
Googly eyes. That's right. Yeah. What the hell is that city name? It's got the Aurora drug that's legal. It's like one word. I can't think of it. Anyways, Monster wants to know, Safe House, are you circumcised?
Nah, fucking way, man. That was too much trouble. My fucking dick, it looks like I got a hoodie on down there. That's what's going on, baby. I live it up here in fucking candy. You gotta keep that fucking shit warm. You gotta wrap it before you tap it, baby. So, yeah, let me tell you, I can pull the strings closed on that motherfucker. I can get excited just rolling that shit back there. You know what, in Canada, they got Tim Hortons. They say roll up the rim to win. Well, I roll back my rim to win, baby. That's what I do up here. Yeah, cockhead.
Safe House, who would you rather? That huge lady from Resident Evil 8 or the shape-shifting Pokemon Ditto?
Fucking Pokemon, that's for your fucking scissor boys. I take that big ass bitch. You say Resident Evil, that fucking vampire with the big ass titties?
Yeah.
I take her all day, every day, man. She's gigantic. She fucking gigantic. I honestly, I get excited just stepping underneath her skirt. That's all I do, man. She can come on my face any day. That lady, oh boy, let me tell you, I don't have to run for her when I'm in the mansion. She can catch me. She got them 2 chicks too that flying around too. Like, man, that's like an orgy up in there. Yeah, baby. That's all that's wrong with you. They don't want to kill nobody. They just need somebody that can give them a lickety split. You know what I'm saying? I go down real deep, baby.
Chat, let me know. Let me know in the chat. What do you think happens faster? Safe House to bust a nut, or for him to correctly pronounce Lady Dimitrescu or whatever? Because I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right.
I'm just gonna call her Lady Demolish My Ass. That's her name gonna be. I don't fucking know what it is. It's fucking Ukrainian or Albanian or fucking Lithuanian. I don't know, man, what the fuck her last name is. All I know, she's a sexy big ass bitch. And I want to chase that one around, mansion. Now you cookies.
Princess Zelda says, Safe House, when you buy skins online, are you disappointed that they aren't real skins?
Absolutely. I'm disappointed. First of all, I'm disappointed that nobody has contacted me to have a Safe House Sam in the skin of the game. Honestly, I think I should, when you're doing a create a character feature, I should be one of those voices that you get to select on the end. Right? Because could you imagine this every time you're in a dialogue wheel? Like, hey, girl, tell me where the bathroom is in this fucking shithole of a spaceship. Okay? That'd be fucking funny. I don't care who the hell you is. I think overall you be sitting there laughing all the time. You couldn't care. People, I don't like dialogue wheels. You know why? Because it's boring. But if you had Safe House Sam voice in that dialogue wheel, I tell you want to sit there and listen to every goddamn thing that I say. I mean, AI generated motherfucking text dialogue up in there. Yeah, baby.
All righty, guys. Woo.
That's a lot.
That answer all your questions, Stick Figure Guy. I think we're done with the Starfield talk. Woo. All right, guys. That was awesome. We'll probably bring back in Handy Andy for next week's show, but I think we're going to wrap it up right here. Thanks, Safe House. You were on fire or on something definitely tonight. And guys, definitely awesome show again. Yeah, on something, right? Too bad we didn't have Doom Cutie. Hopefully she'll be here next week. I'll send a bat signal out for her again. Hopefully we'll get her back on. But in the meantime, let's close the show. Mental, let people know where they can catch up with you next, sir, and maybe add you to Xbox or whatever. Game it up sometime.
Yeah. I'm Mental 9R on Xbox and PlayStation. I think Mental 9R, you'll find my dog's clawing at me here. Mental 9R on Steam, wherever you look for me, I'm pretty much Mental 9R everywhere. So Twitter or X, same thing. And YouTube, I've got a channel. It's Caffeine Entertainment. If you look for me on YouTube, I'll probably throw up a quick little unboxing of my PlayStation here as well. My kids wanted to be in that one, so you see my kids with me, and yeah, that'd
be really cool. You forgot to leave up your little hashtag in your video this week, but that's okay. Yes,
I did. Yeah.
Okay. Cool, man. We'll catch up with Mental, and obviously you can catch up with Titan Drago, Titan, who is the winner of your Common Sense Award tonight.
It was tough. It was between a couple of them. I got to go with Angel Azrael, though, our old friend, because if you can just wake up in fucking Australia and still find your way back to the show, you're doing something right. So way to bring the common back to sense.
Indeed. You guys are awesome. Thanks again for the super chats and the support. We've had over 20 plus watching live again tonight. Again, if you have any comments about the show, or if you have things that you think might help improve the show or anything like that, or you have a guest who you'd like to see on here, send me a DM over on Twitter, or send Titan a DM, or send Mental a DM. It doesn't really matter. We'll take your messages and your support and your whatever, but make sure you share this out, hit the like, comment, and subscribe. And like I said, I definitely appreciate all the people who have stuck by us here, and but it's always nice to see some new faces, some new subs, and just keep building on this. So it's great fun. Yeah, Timothy Dixon, appreciate it, man. Tell us, Ray, you guys are awesome. Monster 530, everybody that's been here tonight, RWK 88, Casket Repair, the list goes on. You guys are fantastic. Iceman, what's going on? Cyber Gunter, Axel, Jago, man, you guys are awesome. Dragonheart, Yobi in the house. What's going on, Dragonheart? Yeah, there they go. They're all coming in late, but it's better late and always great. Thanks for the support.
Iceman tried to get me off Starfield. I said no.
Oh, yeah, you did.
No.
Yeah, bringing up Smite again.
I said, no, Iceman, I'm going to play with whiskey late, 2 days later, and then lose. I think we lost 8 or 9 games in a row. I was about to wring his neck.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. All right, we'll save the neck ringing for next week, but that's it for another show, guys. You know where to find me, always in the gutter, but Rack here hosting this on Monday nights. Again, we'll see you soon. And hopefully, like I said, next week we'll get Doom Cutie on if she's still willing to be a part of it. If not, we'll line up somebody else, I'm sure. But in the meantime, guys, have yourself a great evening. And don't forget, I will be streaming some games on YouTube on this channel shortly here, right after this podcast closes. I don't know which game I'm going to play yet. Kind of leave that as a surprise. But I'll be over there kind of chatting it up a little bit and playing some games. So take care, everybody. You're amazing, and we'll see you next week.
Later, guys.
Woo!